Hello, this is Lilian, welcoming you to the 1903rd edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline, the 21st of May 2015. The readers this week are Joan, Rod and myself, Lilian, with Colin on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Boulon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. And now over to Joan, who will read the first item of local news.
Scrapping weekly bin collections in favour of a fortnightly service could lead to an increase in fly tipping, one councillor has warned. Demands have been made by opposition Conservative councillors at Enfield Borough Council to keep its manifesto promise of maintaining weekly waste collections. Councillor Joan Laban called on the authority's new cabinet memberships for environment, Daniel Alderson, to maintain the current system or face added fly tipping in the borough. Councillor Laban told the Enfield Independent the Labour Party were elected last year on a mandate to deliver weekly bin collections. The face they are now showing, it's not ruling it out, shows a U-turn of policy and a broken promise to residents in terms of blaming government savings. All parties knew of this, so this should have been anticipated when the Labour Party promised weekly collections in its manifesto. Currently, the Labour Council is showing no commitment to keep the streets clean and tidy. Councillor Daniel Anderson would not be drawn into ruling out the claims, but said to Councillor Laban is scaremongering over possible cuts. He said, given the anticipated levels of government funding cuts, which is already in the region of £80 million, it would be foolish in the extreme to try and determine future service proposals at this stage. However, as a responsible council, I can assure your readers that we are continually looking at the innovative ways of delivering the most effective services that residents do expect in the most efficient ways possible. To that end, we are particularly committed to increasing recycling rates, as this will significantly help to reduce the financial burden on local taxpayers. There is no U-turn, so I fail to see how fly tipping can increase. It is simple scaremongering. It is plain daft to try and determine future service proposals when we don't know the extent of government funding cuts already in the region of £80 million. However, I'd advise Councillor Laban, as she is so clearly animated by the topic, to contact George Osborne and support us in making the case for the funding we need to deliver the services residents expect. Councillor Laban added, the fact is residual waste has risen and fly tipping levels are increasing. The council's response on recycling is pathetic, given the fact it charges for larger recycling bins. What incentive is that to increase recycling? The council also has large fees for bulky waste collection, which puts people off doing the right thing and leading some to take the option of dumping it on the streets. Former MP for Enfield North, Nick Dubois, launched a petition earlier this year to keep weekly bin collections, which attracted 1,412 signatures.
A workshop tomorrow will confront worryingly high rates of smoking in Enfield's Turkish community, especially young people. Research shows that 55% of Turkish males and 41% of Turkish females between the ages of 11 and 25 who live in the borough smoke. This compares with a borough average of less than 16%. The study, organised by Enfield Council, involved a total of 397 people. Some of those asked did not recognise that smoking specialist tobacco through a water or shisha pipe was classified as smoking. The workshop at Kirkuzrak Community Centre in Derby Road, Ponders End, will explore how smoking in the Turkish community can be reduced, from helping established smokers to ditch the habit to urging young people not to start. Alav Kazimoglu, the Council's Cabinet Member for Health and Social Care, said, "This research is both shocking and frightening, and we want to find the best way to get our messages across. Smoking is often a cultural and social activity among Turkish communities. However, I am determined that we look at all ways of getting messages across that will support people not to start smoking or persuade people to stop. Whether it is for health, financial or social reasons, we must promote messages that will convince the Turkish community as much as they have already reached other communities." Dr. Mick Oskar, consultant cardiologist at North Middlesex University Hospital in Edmonton, will discuss the dangers of smoking, and Yufak Cenk, one of the Council's Stop Smoking Service advisors, will describe the work already taking place in the borough.
The London skyline was the backdrop when an £80 million loan to pay for new housing in Enfield was announced. The loan from the European Investment Bank to Enfield Borough Council was announced at the Gherkin last Thursday. The money will be spent on speeding up the Meridian water development, several small housing sites, school expansion and the Lee Valley heat network. Meridian Water, which is set to create up to 8,000 homes and 3,000 new jobs, will become a housing zone under the Mayor of London's scheme to boost house building. Council leader Councillor Doug Taylor said, "I think this is a major step as part of a journey. We are now in the process of acquisition of land at Meridian Water. Everything is moving in the right direction. With cuts inevitable to the budget of Enfield Council, Councillor Taylor said the council needs this investment. He said, "I think there will be tremendous cuts, but even if there wasn't the sort of capital we are talking about, we would always need to borrow. This is a great opportunity. I think the trick is to show it is viable and that your plan is well-grounded and properly researched. We have spent a lot of time and effort on this." The European Investment Bank, EIB, Vice President Jonathan Taylor commended the organisation and planning of the local authority. He said, "This is all about offering an opportunity to major projects across London, and Enfield has shown real ambition and good organisation to be able to secure this funding. The new investment is part of an EIB-backed £1 billion urban renewal programme that will improve the quality of life and and the health of Londoners, as well as creating jobs where they are most needed. Matthew Penchars, the Mayor of London's senior advisor for energy and environment, said, Enfield is seeing huge growth with exciting schemes such as the proposed Meridian water housing zone set to provide thousands of new homes. This latest investment from the European Investment Bank will play a crucial role, not only in ensuring these new homes are environmentally friendly, but also by providing cheaper heating and hot water. Jane Clare, Project Delivery Director for the Lee Valley Heat Network, added, the Ladderswoods satellite scheme is the start of the Lee Valley Heat Network, with construction work already well underway. The first 40 homes are on track to receive heat from the network this autumn.
A trial date has been set for 4 men charged with the murder of a 23-year-old student in Edmonton. Geoffrey Kessie, 22, from Nuneaton in Warwickshire, and 2 18-year-olds and a 17-year-old, all from London, who cannot be named for illegal reasons, all entered not guilty pleas to murdering Carey Ford on November the 30th, 2014. All 4 also denied conspiracy to rob on the same date. Their trial is due to start at the Old Bailey on September the 21st. 2 other men, Aaron Burrell, 19, of Lacey Close, Edmonton, and Adiri Omonose, 18, of Southeastern Avenue, Edmonton, appeared before the Old Bailey charged with conspiracy to rob on November the 30th last year. They have not yet entered pleas and will appear for a plea and case management hearing on June the 29th.
A toddler and 4 other children were dropped from the upstairs window of their blazing Edmonton home into the outstretched arms of neighbours in a dramatic early hours rescue. The children's mother escaped by jumping onto a mattress which the quick-thinking neighbours in Fairfield Road had placed below her, and her husband also leapt to safety. Police are treating the fire, which broke out at about 4 a.m. on Friday, as suspicious. Next-door neighbour Shireen Millwood, 39, said, I heard a bang and screaming, like someone shouting for help. I went outside and I saw fire coming from the house. There was lots of smoke. The front was really ablaze. I woke up my own children and ran out and jumped over the fence. I saw the husband at the window and said, throw the baby to me. They stretched down with the baby and I was able to catch him. Her son, Javaska, 23, helped catch the other children. Ms. Millwood added, we took the children into my living room and my daughter Talia reassured them. They were crying in shock and frightened. The children's father is believed to have hurt his back when he jumped. The terrified mother had been unwilling to jump as she wanted to know that the children were safe. Another neighbour put a mattress under the window and urged her to jump, reassuring her that all 5 children were safe. She was treated overnight at North Middlesex University Hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton. The family were believed to be staying with relatives this week. London Fire Brigade Watch Manager Dave Girt said that firefighters from Edmonton and Tottenham confined the blaze to the ground floor of the house, which was slightly damaged. The fire was contained in the porch, while the house filled with thick black smoke. Detective Inspector Chris Rickson from Enfield CID said, we believe the fire was started deliberately and are keen to speak to witnesses or anyone who may have information about who was responsible. Witnesses should call Enfield CID on 0208 345 4340 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.
An elderly and blind Edmonton pensioner has praised a new low-level lighting system which has been installed in his housing block. Colin Lee, 85, who lives in Dodsley Place, said he now has peace of mind about being able to leave his flat safely in the event of a fire. The photoluminescent system can be seen easily in darkness and even in thick smoke, and Enfield Council is thought to be the first local authority in the country to install one like it. Mr. Lee, who has been registered blind since 2007, told the Advertiser, "I can make out some things, but it is all grey, and I can't easily distinguish one face from another. If you said hello to me, I might not then recognise you in the street, which can be embarrassing. But I can see these lights clearly, each step, all the way down. For me, it is a great reassurance." The new lighting follows an earlier installation at Scott House, one of the council's 18-storey blocks. The authority's senior management team worked alongside specialist fire risk consultants, Euro Compliance, deciding to install the system after reading recommendations made by coroners following fatal fires in Lakenall House in Southwark, South London, and Shirley Towers in Southampton, Hampshire. Phil Williams, Operations Director of Euro Compliance, suggested that vested financial interests on the part of electrical companies had created a reluctance to embrace the new lighting despite much reduced maintenance costs and an improved environmental rating when compared with traditional systems. This is a fire safety system that is not only internationally recognized, but is also legally required in many countries, including the USA and Japan, he said. It will provide peace of mind for the residents of Dodsley Place and of Scott House.
Police were called on Saturday night to reports of rowdy youths gathered in Windmill Hill. Peter Simpkin, 72, who lives nearby, told the Advertiser he noticed a group had gathered outside Sainsbury's supermarket in Green Lanes. He spotted the youths from his bedroom window at 11 p.m. after returning from an evening out with his wife. "The next time I looked," he said, "there were police cars and vans. About 100 youths had gathered, and Green Lanes was blocked for about half an hour. I've no idea what it was about, but the police were brilliant in averting what could have been a nasty incident. They were very calm and weren't pushing back." A spokesman from the Metropolitan Police said they had received a report of between 30 and 50 people gathered in the street, and an allegation that one person had been approached in an aggressive manner. However, no offences were recorded and no arrests were made.
Campaigners fighting to save a 300-year-old pub are making a second bid to have the building listed as an asset of community value. The Save the Green Dragon pub campaign has attracted more than 4,000 signatures on an online petition to protect the watering hole. The Green Dragon in Green Lanes, Windmill Hill, closed earlier this year and has been taken over by Green Lanes Investment, putting its future as a pub in doubt. Earlier this month, the campaign has had its application for the building to become an asset of community value rejected by Enfield Borough Council. The status would allow the community the chance to buy the pub or give them 6 months to find a suitable buyer if owner GLI finds someone to buy the site. Last week, more than 100 people protested against the decision to deny the pub asset status. But following a meeting with the chief executive of the council, Rob Leake, the group has resubmitted its plans. Sharon McLean and her husband Mike set up the campaign group and last Friday stated on the Save the Green Dragon Facebook page that she had pulled an all-nighter to create a bulletproof application. The previous application fell down on one of the four sections of its application, according to Enfield Council, in that it could restore the pub from its current use, a temporary bric-a-brac store. An answer for the new application is not expected for another 6 weeks.
Undergraduates studying for a degree in theatre with the acclaimed Chicken Shed Theatre Company are set to take centre stage. 2 productions performed and scripted by the 32 BA Hons students will be staged at the Dugdale Centre in Thomas Hardy House, London Road, Enfield Tow, on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Approximately 2/3 of students who enroll for the course wouldn't be accepted on any other course at any college or university for a variety of reasons, said theatre spokeswoman Susan Jamson. But at Chicken Shed, we are inclusive and passionately believe that the diversity of our students makes for extremely successful courses. The pieces the students from Chicken Shed in Chayside Southgate are performing are titled Consumerism Kills and Break the Cycle. The first explores the idea of unnecessary materialistic possessions we own and the plight of third world poverty-stricken families who produce them. Break the Cycle explores forced and arranged marriage and domestic abuse. Ms. Jameson said, "This is demonstrating that theatre performance is not just about acting, but how to put on a main house production in a theatre that is based in a different venue from Chicken Shed." So the students devised and created their plays, decided and found props, sets and costumes, produced and directed the pieces, and are now marketing and promoting the finished plays, and hopefully profiting from sales. The performances start at 7 p.m. and ticket prices are £5. All proceeds from ticket sales will go to the students themselves.
The borough's parks are set to benefit from a £2 million investment over the next year, Enfield Council has announced. The cash will be spent on improving children's play areas, paths and fencing in the borough open spaces, with the work due to be completed by March next year. The project will greatly improve access, help protect parks, and give play areas a new lease of life by installing fantastic new equipment for toddlers and older children to play on. Daniel Anderson, the Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, said, "Our parks are already welcoming havens for everyone to enjoy. This significant investment will improve them further and give children in Enfield 2 million reasons to smile when they pay our playgrounds a visit."
A painting by a 12-year-old Windmill Hill schoolgirl has been selected to become part of a permanent art collection. Hand of Hope by Marie Sadler of Winchmore School, Laburnum Grove, was unveiled at Enfield Civic Centre on Friday. Marie is one of a group of 12 young people from the school who produced an exhibition to mark Holocaust Memorial Day earlier this year. Her work was originally exhibited at the Dugdale Centre in Enfield Town during the week of Holocaust Memorial Day in January and formed part of this year's theme, Keep the Memory Alive. Marie's painting was then loaned to Enfield Town Library, which exhibited the work in its community room during March. Enfield Council then chose the piece to add to their permanent art collection, hanging it in a busy area of the Civic Centre. In notes to accompany her painting, Marie wrote, My artwork represents the hope within the Holocaust, and I want people to see the story in my work. Keep the Memory Alive is a way to show that the past is just as important as the present and future. We will never forget. Yasmin Brett, the Council's Cabinet Member for Community Organisations, said the exhibition had been a real treat. She added, "It was powerful, moving and accomplished, showing real understanding of the subject and an intelligent interpretation of the theme. The young artists can all be tremendously proud of their contribution to this very successful event and exhibition."
A mock crash caused the M25 to close over the weekend. The M25 was shut in both directions between Junction 25 with the A10 at Enfield and Junction 27 with the M11 from 10 p.m. on Saturday, May the 16th to 6 a.m. Sunday, May the 17th. Both carriageways were closed for routine testing on systems and equipment by simulating an accident in the Bell Common Tunnel near Epping and the Homesdale Tunnel near Enfield. Diversions were put in place with road users travelling clockwise between Junction 25 and Junction 27, diverted via the A10 and the A406 North Circular Road.
A man has avoided a prison sentence after he was found guilty of assaulting a woman. Kukan Ozikal, 34, of Slades Hill, Enfield, was given a community order after a woman in her 30s was found with blood coming from her mouth and nose as he was bent over a car. A police officer who was fluent in Turkish overheard the pair talking on Cornwallis Road, Edmonton, on January the 11th, with Ozikal saying, "Don't tell them what happened," and "Tell them you fell over because you were drunk." The victim chose not to provide a statement, yet the police were able to charge Ozikal with assault by beating and remand him in custody. He was found guilty at Tottenham Magistrates Court on April the 22nd and ordered to take part in a domestic abuse program for 25 days and carry out 50 hours of unpaid work in the next 12 months. Ozikal was ordered to pay £620 and a victim surcharge of £60.
We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.